reacting to Sarah Boone's former husband, Brian Boone's police cruiser interview with detectives Chelsea and Scott. And I'm probably going to put in here something about the people, because Brian Boone and Chelsea both say a lot of ums. I might try to count them, but I think I'll probably forget where I'm at. Let's get to hearing it.
Today's date is February 24th, 2020. The time now is approximately 15:25 hours. This is in reference to Orange County case number 20-017904. I am currently located in my unmarked agency vehicle in front of 4748 France Lane, apartment number 3 in Winter Park, Florida. Also in the car with me is my partner,
Scott Lowen, Detective of the Orange County Sheriff's Office.
and your name, sir?
Brian, 75.
Okay. So, Brian, to my understanding, you were called over here. So can you just take me back to this morning and your involvement with Sarah, which is your ex-wife?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes. We've been divorced about a year and a half.
Okay.
I started calling her probably 10:30 or so. It's her day to pick up the kid, but
Okay.
it doesn't always happen. 1 or 2 days a week, maybe she gets them.
Out of the 5?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
And what do you, like every other day you're supposed to?
Well, we're supposed to. She's Monday, Tuesday, I'm Wednesday, Thursday, and then we alternate Friday through Sunday. Is how it's supposed to. I was actually my lawyer back a couple weeks ago because I was looking to get it changed because she can never stick to it. There's always some reason why. So it's general that I start calling her around to find out if she's actually going to get him, even though yesterday she told me she would. So I started calling her about 10:30. Never got an answer until I can tell you. So I finally got a hold of her at 12:49.
And did she call you or you call her?
No, I called her. I'd called her at 11:25. I did that twice. I always call twice because generally she's asleep or whatever. And then I called her 2 more times at 12:21, and then I called her again at 12:49, and that's when she answered.
Okay.
Freaking out, saying that George was dead, and could I please come over? So I told her, you need to call the police. And went and got my dog in his crate and everything, and started heading over here. She called me again at 12:54 asking if I was going to be coming over, if I'd left yet. And I told her I had already left. I was going to be there in a couple minutes. So I got here, knocked on the door, walked in just right in the front entrance area. Told her once again, you need to call the police.
Was she on the phone with anyone when
Not
you
yet.
saw her?
Not yet.
Okay.
She was shaking. She was trying to get herself something to drink because she...
First of all, if I killed my boyfriend, whether it was accidentally or not, I don't know that I would call my baby daddy. I mean, I don't think I would call my baby daddy to come over. It just wouldn't enter my mind like, well, I killed my boyfriend. I guess I really need my baby daddy right now. Why? That's odd. All I would be thinking about would be calling the police and trying to get help. And second of all, if I were the baby daddy and my baby mama calls me up and says, or I call her and she says, hey, guess what? Remember that person I cheated on you with that ended our marriage? That our marriage ended over? Well, yeah, he's dead. I don't think I would go rushing over there. I think I would probably call the police and say, hey, this is what my crazy baby mama said. I think y'all need to go over and check it out. I don't think I would go. Something tells me that he left out part of the story. And I really think what he left out is that he went over there and took her some vodka for her Dr. Pepper. And that's the reason she had to go out and have a drink and a ciggy before she called 911 after Brian Boone got there. I think he left that out. I'm just speculating. I don't know.
Just like freaking out. So that's when she got on the phone and called, and I said, I'm going outside because I don't really want to be in here right now. So I came outside and I sat in my car until people showed up, and
Okay.
it's kind of where we've gone from there. So
Okay. So you called her about 5 or 6 times before she answered.
yeah, which completely normal.
Normal to you. Okay. The rotation real quick. So Monday, Tuesday, she'll have them. Wednesday, Thursday, you'll have them. And then you rotate each weekend.
Yeah, well,
Like it's every other weekend?
how it's supposed to work. Generally, it's 1 or 2 times, maybe a week. I think she had him last Tuesday was the last time he was actually over here.
And spent the night?
Yes.
Okay.
It's probably another week before that.
What's your son's name?
Lucas. Lukas.
L-U-K. And Boone?
Yeah.
You think he stayed here last Tuesday?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it was last Tuesday.
Was
Speaking of Lucas not seeing his mother since last Tuesday, this day is the following Monday. So it's been 6 days since she's seen her own child, her only child, 9-year-old. And she says in her police interrogation, y'all don't understand who I am. I excel at everything. What'd she say? Something like, I'm an outstanding mother. Something like that. And what kind of outstanding mother doesn't even see their only child for almost a week? And on a pretty regular basis.
Well then, okay, so you technically have him more than she does.
Oh, yeah.
Is that where you're getting?
Yeah, that's why I said I was going
So
to the
even
lawyer.
though that's how it's supposed to be, you still have him.
Yeah,
the majority.
it's not a good day. George is in a bad mood or whatever else reason. I think sometimes just she wants to stay up and drink and can't really do that if she's got to wake up and take him to school the next day.
Right.
Any number of different reasons. So.
Okay. How long have you known Sarah?
Since, let's see here, I was probably 23 or so when we met.
Oh wow.
Something like that.
Since you were 23?
Yeah, so probably, 20 years. Probably dated for quite a while. And then got married, whatever it was, 12, 13 years ago, something like that. Well, I guess 12, 13 years ago before the divorce. So I guess like 14, 15 ago, something like that, maybe.
Okay, so that part is kind of concerning for me also, because what kind of person meets Sarah Boone? Even before she became an alcoholic, it doesn't sound like he knew her before she was an alcoholic, but who meets Sarah Boone and says, yeah, I'm going to date her and marry her and have a child with her? I think there might be something wrong with Brian, because I think she's been out of her mind for maybe forever.
Okay. What can you tell me about her?
I don't, she's generally not, she can get a bit violent when she.
Okay, the very first thing that Brian has to tell about Sarah is she can get a bit violent when she's drinking. So to me, that's quite telling, is that probably that's the dominant character trait of Sarah, violent when drinking and always drinking. I like the second thing that he said about her also. I don't remember what it was now.
Not to this kind of extent.
Right,
I don't know what happened exactly. But.
Right.
Okay, so he's saying that she can get a bit violent when she's drinking, but not to this kind of extent. Of course not. If she had drank to the extent of killing someone in the past, she would be in jail. So, of course, she hadn't gotten drunk enough to kill someone before. Of course, she hasn't done it before, unless she did do it and then didn't get caught, because I am a bit suspicious of her entire family being dead, and they should be pretty young.
No, I'm just looking for...
That was part of it. The alcohol has gotten worse and worse and worse over the years. That's one of the main reasons why I divorced her. I just couldn't deal with it. I mean, it got to the point where, on weekdays, she'd go out, and I guess the George person is one of the people she had met, because I separated at one point and went over to my parents' house to live for a few months. And I guess she met him over at the pool place or something like that. But I'd come back when we were in therapy trying to work it out. And on a weeknight when he's got school the next day, I've got work the next day, she was out till 3 o'clock in the morning when the bar closes, and she'd bring people back over on the back porch. One time some random person walked into my house and started screaming for Sarah at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning when we're trying to sleep. I just couldn't get over it.
So did you still live here?
No. I bought her out of our house.
Okay.
So what I got out of that story just now about Sarah going across the street to the bar, or across to the pool hall bar, is that that's where she met her lover, or at least one of her lovers, George Torres, and cheated on Brian with him, and they went to therapy, but Brian just couldn't get over it. And, who could blame him? I'm sure she wasn't willing to stop seeing George, because I do think she had some power over George. Like, she was able to tell him what to do, and he did it. And she loves that about, if anyone will do that for her. She loves ordering people around.
I was going to just sell it and move, because I kind of wanted to go back to College Park, which is where I'm from, but
right.
I thought it would be maybe easier for Lucas if I just bought her out and kept that house, so he had a little bit of continuancy, kind of.
Understandable.
So that's what I ended up doing, and then she moved right down the street here, so.
And how long would you say the alcoholism has been a part of her life?
It's always been a part of her life. It seemed to have gotten worse and worse, I think more or less kind of since we had Lucas. And I think a lot of it was the fact that she kind of, I guess, maybe felt trapped or something.
Okay.
That, before that, whenever she wanted, you're outside having a drink, I want to go play pool, you go over across the street, you play pool for a little bit.
Yeah.
That's not happening anymore when she got a kid.
Right.
So.
How old's your son?
He is 9. So, but she started just getting really angry when she drank a lot. She said last night she fell asleep. There were plenty of times where she just basically passed out from drinking. So,
so you've witnessed her pass out from drinking?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And so Brian said right there. So last night she said she fell asleep, but there's been plenty of times she's basically passed out drunk. I think what he's saying is that he doesn't believe her, that she just fell asleep. He believes that she passed out drunk last night.
When she passes out, is she, out cold?
Oh, she's out.
How difficult would it be to, wake her?
Well, if I were to, shake her or something,
right.
I could probably wake her up. But me making a phone call or noise probably wouldn't do it.
Okay. And would she be, in the middle of doing something and just, out cold? Or would she, go to bed and
it would
just be out cold?
Yeah, she wouldn't, fall over or anything. It would be more of a lay down and then she's just out.
Right. Okay. What do you know about her and George's relationship, if anything?
It was. I think she had him arrested 5 or 6 times for domestic violence. He's stuck a steak knife in the back of her leg one time.
Okay. So has he always been the one that gets arrested, or has she ever been arrested?
She was also one of the times.
Okay.
One of the times both of them were arrested. But all the others have been him. But the very next day, she's in there trying to get it bailed out. So
Right.
I don't know. Basically, they get drunk, they get in a fight, she gets upset, she calls the cops. I mean, granted, I saw lots of black eyes, bruises.
On her?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, there definitely was. Now,
would you see George as much as you would see him or her?
I hardly ever saw him.
You hardly
I honestly, I didn't like being around either one of them.
Right.
To be honest, and him more so. So,
Why is that?
Just, I don't know.
Translation: I didn't like being around George more so because that's the person that ended my marriage to the crazy chick. So, of course, he's going to be resentful of George. I mean, George probably knew that Sarah was married and then still continued to have an affair with her.
It's my ex-wife. She made me really mad with everything. How the whole divorce went down, and just, I mean, the way she acted and the way she changed, and the way they both are, I mean, what it's done to Lucas and everything else. He's nobody I cared to see. Let me put it that way. I mean, it's not like I really went out of my way to, like, it's just that.
When you guys do drop-offs or anything, is it always through the school, or would you, like, have to come here and see them, or no?
No, it's pretty much always during the school. Sometimes she would come over or something like that. Sometimes he would be driving, but, I mean, he would just stay in the car. She would come in. So, I mean, I really wouldn't see him.
So it's not like you have, like, conversations with George? Okay.
No, I mean, maybe a few times when they've drunkenly called me at night because she was telling me she needed to escape because whatever's going on, or she's put him on the phone, but I don't know.
When's, like, the last incident that you recall of there being, like, a domestic dispute between her and George?
I mean, she told me, like, a week ago she had to escape from the house and wanted me to come pick her up. I told her I wasn't going to because I'm just tired of it happening. I mean, it was midnight. I mean, child's trying to sleep, and just...
Right.
Honestly, I don't always believe her when she said these things were going on, and...
She called you?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and I mean, apparently she went back inside and slept well. Was in a fine mood the next day. I guess didn't really remember calling me.
I'm kind of surprised about that story, about she calls him while she's drunk and asks him to come pick her up, and he wouldn't do it, and so she just went back inside and went to bed. I'm kind of surprised she's not the type to drive drunk. You know, I think she would be more like the type to just show up at his door wanting in, because, you know, she's got a car. But that's good that she didn't drive drunk.
I don't know if it was just she wanted to come over to, I don't know, she keeps on trying to come over to, like, hang out or something like that, or
Okay, that part would prompt further questions for me if I had been the detective, because my kids told me that when someone says that they want to hang out, it really means they want to hook up, you know, have sex. So I would have stopped him right there and said, "What do you mean by hang out? Does that mean that she was wanting to have sex? Were you still in a sexual relationship with each other?" I would have asked further questions on that one, because I do want to know. Is that the reason that Brian keeps giving her money and whatever she wants? I mean, what's the reason that she has a hold over her former husband, Brian Boone? You know, such a hold that he's going to come over when she kills somebody, allegedly killed. We know that he's dead, but she hasn't been proven guilty yet.
She'll come over to spend time with Lucas rather than actually just having him over here like she's supposed to, but she wants to come over there and play with him. And so, I'm not sure how real that was. Last time I know there was an actual physical confrontation. It's probably been a little while, because this last time George got arrested, I know he was on pre-trial, whatever, something. I don't know. He had a parole officer. He had a domestic violence class. He's like...
So that's the last time, basically the last time he was arrested was the last physical altercation that you recall?
I think so.
Okay.
I don't know for sure, but I think so.
And you have any idea what year or month that may have been?
Back a few months, maybe?
A few months ago?
Yeah, something like that, maybe. I don't think it was incredibly.
I know what else I would have asked her, or asked him about Sarah and their divorce. I would have asked him, how was the divorce? Did Sarah actually want a divorce, or did Brian just force it on her because he was angry about her cheating and alcoholism, which I think pretty much go together, hand in hand. But, I remember that the property manager lady said that Sarah came to the office and asked her how she could get George off of the lease. Said she just wants to get rid of him or something like that. So what I'm wondering is, could Brian Boone be the motive for Sarah getting rid of George? Maybe she didn't want to get divorced. I know she talked in her police interrogation about how she stayed the night with Brian, and Lucas was really happy about that, this Monday night that she reported him dead to the police. So maybe she wanted to get back together with Brian so bad that she got rid of George so he would take her back. And maybe that's the reason that she called him first. I mean, I think there's a chance that she could have wanted him to help her hide the body. And that was the real reason that she called him first. Or maybe she wanted him to be proud of her for getting rid of the obstacle between them. Could this be her motive?
Okay. Like around the holidays of last year, before the holidays?
I think it was probably before the holidays. I'm trying to remember.
Okay.
Because oddly enough, there was like a 3-week period where she actually had Lucas all the time she was supposed to because he was in jail for a month or something like that.
Okay.
Because they wouldn't let him out.
Yeah. And you said when she drinks that she can get physically aggressive.
She can. I mean, she did it to me a lot where she'd hit me and stuff like that. I mean, she's tiny.
Yeah.
No. Yeah was the wrong answer right there. What does he mean that she did it to me a lot? But it was okay because she's tiny. No, it is absolutely not okay. And if you would have called the police and reported her for her crimes, it's illegal. It's against the law to hit someone. Whether you're tiny, whether you're female, whatever, it's absolutely not okay. It's a no, a great big no. And if he would have reported her for her crimes, George would probably still be alive.
What do you mean hit though? Like open hand smack you, or like try and punch you?
Yeah, she'd punch me. I mean, more arms. She many times would use her claws. I mean, I had scratches on my neck at times.
Oh yeah, she'd use her claws. I had scratches on my neck. No big deal. Am I the only one thinking it is a very, very big deal? Such a big deal that someone was killed over his inaction and his excusing away her crimes. It's a very, very big deal. Use her claws.
Arms, I mean, things like that where she'd dig with her claws. I never got that drunk and I had restraint.
See what he's left out of there. If someone uses their claws to dig into you and scratch your neck or scratch you anywhere, it's going to be painful. He's leaving that out.
Touched her back. I think George didn't have that restraint, and at times he would hurt her back. So for all I know, all the times he got arrested, she started it.
Another thing being left out here that I think is very important is that George was significantly smaller, around 40 pounds smaller than Sarah. So George was 5'1", 103 pounds. Sarah was 5'3", 140 pounds. So that's about a 40-pound difference. So I can see him needing to defend himself against her because she's bigger than him. I don't know if she's stronger. They may have been kind of equal, but in size, he was smaller.
I wasn't there, so. But I know she could get violent at times.
Okay.
But I mean, I don't know. It wasn't.
I think that was a blatant understatement, saying she could get violent at times. No, I think what really happened was that she did get violent most times. He'll go on to explain it.
Anything I don't know, too much. I mean, just.
Right, yeah, I mean, you don't feel like she was a huge threat, I'm assuming,
no,
right?
no.
Yeah,
No.
like you could handle yourself.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Did she drink daily?
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
Okay. Do you know, like, her drink of choice?
That would be vodka.
Vodka.
Or
Vodka.
wine, but
Or wine.
vodka is the big one.
And does she or George have a job?
No. She hasn't worked for over 2 years. Well, I guess you could maybe call when he's got a job. He worked at the Ace Hardware up across the street here,
Okay.
which is now going out of business.
Okay.
Okay, so why do they keep saying that George did not have a job? Because I know when the police went to interview George's mom, she said that he was at work at Ace Hardware. And then Brian just said here, I guess what you could call what he had was a job, because he worked at Ace Hardware. Well, where's the confusion coming in? Of course he worked. He had a job working at Ace Hardware. And even Sarah says in her police interrogation that she wanted to let George's co-workers know that he died. You know, his co-workers at Ace Hardware.
Kind of off and on work there. When he did work, it was 15, 20 hours a week, something like that.
Still
my
counts.
alimony and stuff basically pays for where they lived. So, I mean, they didn't need a ton, but, I mean, she was always calling to borrow money. And but, it's been like 2 years since she got a job. She keeps...
The question is, when she called to borrow money, why didn't you say no? And again, if he would have said no, if Sarah would have been without resources, without a way to buy alcohol, there's a good chance that George would have still been alive. Like, she might have had to sober up because she couldn't afford her alcoholism. Why? Why, Brian, did you continue to support Sarah in that way? I mean, I can understand the alimony because the court ordered you to pay that, but I don't understand loaning her money anytime she needs it, which I think he does go on to say in here that he had given her money on Saturday, and then Sunday that they used that money to go and buy alcohol at Publix, or buy wine at Publix the next day on Sunday.
Tell me she's looking. She's always finding the good opportunities and everything, but...
Right.
Okay.
Do you want to take it?
It's my dad. Just
Sure,
one second.
yeah.
Hey. Well, just wait. I'm talking with the detectives right now, and I should be heading out here soon. So I can come get him. Okay? Is John out? Oh, okay. Is he awake? Okay. Good. Okay. Well, I should be up there very soon. Okay. Bye. Sorry.
Okay. We were just on the phone with someone. Okay. When you came over here, I know you said that she called you freaking out saying he was dead. Did she give you any more, like, did you ask why or how?
She told me that they were playing last night or something, and he got in the suitcase and she fell asleep.
Okay.
That's all she told me, so I don't know anything beyond that.
Okay.
And I really didn't talk to her much because I came inside, I told her you need to call the police, and then I came back out, and I think she went on the back porch to smoke a cigarette, so I didn't even really talk with her much. much.
Oh, like she was going outside to... Did you see her take a cigarette?
Yeah, she was going outside with a... Well, I also know when the cops showed up, she kept on telling them she had a cigarette burning out there and she needed to go put it out.
Okay.
But they were keeping her away from stuff, I guess.
Right. Okay.
But, yeah, she...
Okay, here his story changed. So in the beginning, he said that he came over and walked inside and saw... I don't know if that was the part where he said he saw legs, and then he told her to call the police, and then he turned around and walked out and waited for the police to come up. But just now, his story changed to he came over, went inside. She said she had to go and smoke a ciggy and have a drink because she was shaking really bad. And then she came back in after her drinking ciggy and called the police. So in the beginning, he made it sound like she called right as soon as he got there. And now he's changing it to she had her drinking ciggy. And I think the reason that she had her drinking ciggy after he got there was because he brought her vodka and she needed some alcohol. I'm speculating on that.
Me to come back there with her, I was like, I'm going out here. I don't really want to be in here, so...
Right. And that's when she went to call 911?
Well, she called 911 while I was in there. I was standing right in the foyer area.
Okay.
And, I mean, it was apparently a pretty quick conversation, and that's when she started to go that way, and I just told her I'm going out front, so...
Okay. Okay.
How was it apparent that it was a quick conversation? I mean, we heard her 911 call. It was quite lengthy. They were having her do chest compressions on George until the paramedics got there. So I really wish they would have asked him more about that. Like, well, what did you hear? How was it a quick call?
Okay. So they were playing and she went upstairs and went to bed.
I don't know where
After
she went. She just told me she went to sleep.
Or she went to sleep. Okay. You don't know where.
I don't know where.
You didn't ask more questions.
I didn't
Right.
ask more questions. I leave that to you guys.
Yeah. No problem.
See, that part kind of bothers me. I don't know why I'm being so grumpy with Brian today, but he's acting like, it's none of my concern. I'm just leaving that to you guys. I didn't ask. I didn't want to know. None of my business. But if it were none of your concern, none of your business, why are you there? Make it make sense.
Hey, I'll let you know when I'm done talking to these guys, okay? Hello? That's okay. All right. Never mind. Okay, bye. I'll call you when I'm leaving.
Random music for some reason. I don't know why.
In this house.
Well, I was in the foyer.
No, not today.
Oh, other than
today.
Before today?
Mm.
I'm trying to remember if I've been in there. I haven't even really been over here lately.
So it's been a long time.
It's probably been at least weeks, maybe.
Does Lucas play baseball or anything yet?
We've tried to get him into sports. He's not a big sports person, really.
Did you ever play baseball?
Oh, okay. Here's my favorite part of this interview. So in the search warrant, I saw the search warrant for Sarah's apartment, and listed on that search warrant was a baseball bat. I don't know if it said a kid's wooden baseball bat, but I know it was a wooden baseball bat that they confiscated into evidence. So here, Detective Scott is asking about that baseball bat, and I think the reason that it was confiscated and listed on the search warrant, because I think it had probably DNA on it, and more than likely it was George's DNA. That's the reason I speculate that she hit him and knocked him out upstairs with that baseball bat, and then put him into the suitcase while he was knocked out. Because I can't understand why he would willingly get into the suitcase. especially having a crazy girlfriend. You can't trust her. I'm pretty sure he did not trust her. Who would? So I'm speculating that that's the reason that they took the baseball bat, because it did have DNA on it, and it'll probably come out in trial if they go to trial. Okay, so listen to Detective Scott ask questions about this baseball bat.
He didn't play baseball. Well, I mean, I had him like a T-ball set and stuff like that, and we play catch.
Is it like a plastic T-ball set, or what kind of equipment did you have?
Oh, no, this is when he was like 3 years old. It was a little plastic thing I had in the backyard.
Did you ever buy him any baseball bats or anything?
I bought one for over here that Sarah said for Lucas and George to like play with or something. That was like a year ago or something, maybe.
Okay, so that part is very significant to me. So Sarah requested that Brian buy a baseball bat for Lucas and George to play together with. Where's the baseball? First of all. And then he says that was like a year ago or something. So, of course, my criminal reviewing brain goes to, was this premeditation? Had she premeditated or, doing this to George, hitting him in the head with a baseball bat for up to a year? Or could she have wanted that baseball bat to use as a weapon against him during fights? I don't know, but to me this statement here is very significant, and I think that it will come up in her trial if she goes to trial.
Was it a wood bat?
Yeah, it was a wooden bat. I think it was like a junior size thingy. I don't know. It's something that I looked like kind of for his height or something, I think.
All right. Sorry.
Would you mind if I took a picture of your call log to show
Sure.
that you've all the
Do you just want to see
attempts?
hers, or like zoomed in on hers so you can see all those?
Yeah, that's perfect. So I'd say starting from today. I know her phone.
Did you text with her at all today?
Not today. I don't think I did today at all.
Sorry.
That was last night. She was drunkenly texting me.
Last night?
Yeah.
Okay, that piqued up all of our interest when he said, last night she was drunkenly texting me. So, a lot of people are saying, well, Brian was trying to hide the fact that Sarah called him the night that George was put into the suitcase. But I think he actually tried to tell the truth, but got confused on when she actually called. I'm not sure, but something's up with that.
What time?
That was 11 o'clock at night. I think that was
Last night was Sunday. Does it say?
Oh, that's Saturday. Never mind.
Saturday.
That was Saturday night when I was watching the baseball game.
Okay.
Yesterday, which is that, when she said her account was in the negative, so I transferred her a little bit of money to get her out of the negative.
Okay, so it sounded like he said yesterday, she said that her account was in the negative, so I transferred her a little money to get her out of the negative. But, if her account was in the negative, and the police did say that George used Sarah's debit card to buy the wine on his 2 trips to Publix that day, on Sunday, Brian must have given her extra money, not just enough to get her account out of the negative, but enough also to have money to buy at least 2 bottles of wine, get her out of the negative, and buy 2 bottles of wine. And I think that she might have even lied to Brian about what she needed the money for. maybe her account was not in the negative. Maybe she just wanted money to buy booze. I bet you that's what happened. And to me, I would feel so guilty. If I gave someone money to buy booze and they got drunk and killed someone, I would feel really guilty about that. You know, of course, allegedly killed someone because she's not been found guilty yet, but still. She did admit to putting him in there and zipping him up and not letting him out. I'd feel so terrible that I supplied the alcohol that caused that.
She sent you... Oh, that was the morning. Okay, so she thanked you at 11:56 that morning.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. What's the last thank you? What time? Okay, so just a few times.
Yeah, and then that one at 12:01.
Okay, so afternoon, Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the calls. Do you need like...
Yeah, I'm gonna...
Okay.
Yep, I'll start from the top where it has her information. Go ahead, you can scroll down. And that's
Okay.
fine, perfect. Okay, thank you very much. Okay. Has Lucas ever told you anything about her, like, witnessing anything between her and George?
He's heard arguments and things like that.
Okay.
He's not a big fan of staying over.
Speaking of Lucas, I keep forgetting to add this to my videos, and I think it's very important, is I remember when this case first came about back in 2020, that there were pictures of the parents, what's their name, Sarah and Brian Boone. There were pictures on Facebook of them posing with Lucas in a suitcase. You know, like doing a, you know, like haha funny kind of picture, like, oh look, we put our child in a suitcase. And I heard, I'm not sure if this really happened, but I heard that Child Protective Services were called over that Facebook photo of her putting Lucas in the suitcase. So that's another indication that she knew that it was dangerous to put anyone into a suitcase, because Child Protective Services showed up and told her, no, it's not okay for you to put your child in a suitcase. And I'm sure it would have gone for anybody. But another indicator to me is that her mom, Sarah's mom, was a nurse. So she should have had more awareness than most people that it would be dangerous to put a person into a suitcase. And the third thing about that is I heard on something else that Sarah actually got into a suitcase herself. Didn't zip herself up or anything. She just got in there. And, you know, another joking moment. So most of us have never put anyone into a suitcase, much less 3 people, Lucas, Sarah, and George. I mean, what's up with the suitcase? Suitcases. I don't know if it was all the same suitcase. But I did see the picture of Sarah and Brian and Lucas, with Lucas in the suitcase when this case first came out in 2020. And I looked for that picture everywhere on the internet, and I can't find it anymore. So I guess it got taken down. But I do remember seeing it. I have the photo in my brain.
Honestly.
Okay.
Just because they get in arguments and stuff like that. I don't think they've ever had a physical fight in front of him.
Okay.
But I know there's been arguments he's told me about.
Okay.
There's been times where I think things were starting to get to that point, and she has called me to come pick him up and bring him back over to my house. So
Yeah. Okay.
she's generally pretty good about having me come get him if, which leads to me not having a life because I can't ever do anything.
Right.
So I can't go anywhere because I'm too worried about something happening and me having to be over here quickly.
Yeah. Okay, do you have anything else?
Yeah, do you know if she's ever had any issues with drugs in the past?
To my knowledge, she's never really been a drug person. She's big on alcohol, but I don't think she's ever I mean, I think she told me like one time, like back before we got divorced, that at, I don't know, this bar thing over there across the street near the Walgreens, whatever it's called.
Okay.
I've never been there. But somebody gave her a little bit of cocaine, like 2 years ago or something like that. But I've never known her to do drugs.
What about George?
No clue whatsoever.
She's never complained to you?
No. That's not to say these things don't happen, because I try to keep myself out of and away from them in general, but...
Right.
Hold on.
Which vehicle is...
So I try to keep myself out of the way and away from them in general. No, you don't. Look where you are right now. You just contradicted your own self. You're right there in the middle of their business. And the question is, why? That would be my main question. Like, why are you here? How would she get you here? I don't understand.
The Prius right up here.
In front of us?
Yeah.
What does that stand for?
That is what I got sent. I know it looks like a vanity thing. No, that's just this last time they, I guess, sent me a new plate, and that's what was on it.
Awesome. So you can make that up whatever you want it to be.
I could.
Tell them it's for racing. You're going to...
Yeah, I know you're racing.
Yes, racing in
Your
my Prius.
I'm not saying you win. I'm just saying you race.
Oh, man. Okay. Anything else, Scott?
No.
Okay. Is there anything else that you think is important for us to know that we have not asked you? About either George or Sarah?
I don't think so.
When, I mean, you guys have been separated for, what did you say, 5?
We've been divorced about a year and a half. We were separated.
Hold
Good.
on. What is up with these people in their halves? You know, Sarah always talking about, oh, I've been with George for 1.5 years, 2.5 years, 3.5 years. And then he's Brian saying, we've been divorced about a year and a half. I mean, what are they doing? Sitting around counting the months since something happened between them? That's just odd to me. You know, I don't think in halves. And it's weird that they do. You know, if I were what's his name? Brian. If I were Brian and someone said, well, how long have you been separated from Sarah? I'd be saying, okay, well, let me think about it. We got divorced in, what's this, 2020? Probably got divorced in July of 2018. So what was that, like around a year and a half ago? But I don't think I would just come right out with, well, we've been divorced about a year and a half. I mean, that just would not be at the top of my brain. I mean, unless I were celebrating every month that goes by, like, okay, well, this month it's been 1 year and 3 months. This month it's 1 year and 4 months. Woohoo! You know, I could see it then. And I would probably even say, yeah, I celebrate every month. And that's how I know exactly how long we've been separated. I don't know. These halves, they get me.
8 months before that or so. And we had been separated one other time before that, before we got back together and we're trying to do therapy, which didn't work at all. So,
how long has she been living in this apartment?
Ever since we got divorced. So,
Just a year and a half ago?
No, longer than that then. Because I took over the house. I moved in there and she moved here. Because I told her I was buying her out of the house. So I guess it has been longer than that. I think she just said she renewed, so maybe just past 2 years.
Okay.
That may be right.
So I think she said she's been here like 4 years.
She's been with George. I don't remember what she said.
Yeah, she was with George before we were.
Okay, Detective Scott is right. Sarah did change it from, her and George have been together from 3.5 years to 4 years. So she just exaggerates. So that's where he's coming up with the 4 years. She said that she had been with George 3.5 to 4 years. Okay, so here Brian's going to be saying she was with George before we got divorced.
that you recall when you guys were together, and she would be drunk. Did she always, like, resort to getting angry? Like, is she an angry drunk, or would she, like...
Her main problem is she can't stop.
Okay.
I mean, she can't go out and have a glass of wine with dinner.
Right.
That's not a thing she can do, because when she starts drinking, she will continue drinking basically until she out.
She goes to sleep.
Yeah.
If she were to be drunk, would she, like, want to play games with you? Like, did you guys...
Oh, there's a really good period where she is very good, but then she drinks past that and she gets into the...
Okay, so that's the clue. You know, when Sarah repeatedly says, we were having a really good day, we're having a really good time together, enjoying each other's company, I think that comes from the beginning of the drinking. So Brian says, you know, in the beginning, yeah, she's a lot of fun. She likes to do things, play games and things like that, but then she keeps drinking and then she gets angry. So it does start out fun and lighthearted, but then changes to anger. And that also goes along with the neighbor's story about how George and Sarah were yelling and fighting at the top of their lungs before something crashed down the stairs and shook the walls.
Angry bits.
Okay. All right. Okay. Can you just raise your right hand for me? Do you promise and swear everything we've talked about has been true and accurate to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. This ends the recording 15:52 hours. Today's date is March 1st, 2020. The time now is approximately 16:41 hours. This is in reference to Orange County case number 20-017904. I am on the phone with, can you state your name, sir?
Brian Boone.
And I have a couple follow-up questions that I wanted to ask Brian Boone in reference to this case. Brian, just give me your date of birth for me.
5.
Okay. And do you promise and swear everything we're going to talk about is going to be true and accurate to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Okay. So we had a conversation about the incident and your involvement a few days ago, earlier this week, I believe on Tuesday. And after looking through Sarah's call logs, I noticed that she called you on February 23rd, which would be the Sunday night at around 23:46 hours, and that's military time, but in normal time, that's 11:46 hours. Do you recall that phone call?
I do, well, somewhat. I was asleep when she called.
Okay, this part I think is odd. You know, why didn't he mention this during the police cruiser interview that she called him that night that George was put into the suitcase? Because right now he doesn't seem surprised or like his memory has just been jogged. He just is like, yeah, I remember that. But I was asleep. That's odd to me. Why didn't he say it the first time?
So she woke me up. I was half asleep when I was talking to her. She did sound very inebriated.
Okay.
I don't remember what all she said. I'm kind of used to her calling drunk late at night and things like that, so it didn't faze me as anything out of the ordinary. I basically just kind of got her off the phone and told her I'm going back to sleep and I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Okay. You said that she sounded inebriated, like she was drunk?
Yeah, I mean, she didn't sound like, it's hard. I was half asleep at the time. I don't think I remember hearing anything bad in the background or anything that would have caused me concern, but I don't really remember it that well.
Okay, but she was under the influence of alcohol based off of your knowledge of just knowing her and knowing when and when she's not under the influence.
Yeah. As soon as I heard her start talking, I almost kind of just zoned out away from it because she says all kinds of, nonsense when she does this late at night, and I was trying to get her off the phone so I could go back to sleep. Yes, I'm sorry, I'm on the phone right now. You can get yourself dried off. Get yourself dried off. Your pajamas are right here, okay? Hold on, buddy. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead.
It's okay.
What?
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
Are you ready? Okay. Okay, so do you remember her saying anything specifically about George?
I don't think so. I don't really remember. I really don't remember much of the conversation, honestly.
Okay, I appreciate it. Okay, and the phone conversation lasted for a little over 2 minutes, if I'm not mistaken?
May have been, yeah.
Okay. And you said that is kind of normal for her to call you late at night, or just kind of whenever she's under the influence and she's kind of just babbling on, and you have to try and get her off the phone.
Yeah,
if you don't
it's a thing that happens.
Okay. Okay, so you can't remember anything specific about what she may or may not have said, but she did sound inebriated. Does that sound correct?
Yeah.
And you couldn't hear anything in the background,
Not that.
as far as like arguing or yelling or anything like that? You couldn't hear any of that?
I don't think so.
Okay. Do you know where she was located? Did she ever say?
I was assuming she was at home.
Okay, but she didn't say.
I mean, she didn't have a lot of money. She didn't really go out anywhere, so I assumed she was at home.
Okay. But you wouldn't know where in the house she may have been?
No.
Okay, she didn't give you that information. Okay.
Not that I remember. It's possible she said something. I don't really remember, though.
Okay. All right, is there anything else that you think is important for me to know about that phone conversation?
I don't think so.
Does that typically, do you guys talk often? Like, in a day's time, like, do you guys talk daily?
More than I would like. Normally, anytime I'm calling her, it's to find out if she's actually going to be picking the child up like she's supposed to.
Right.
Like that next morning with me constantly calling.
Right.
She'll call to talk to Lucas, or sometimes when she's drunk, or she wants me to come pick her up because she's scared of George, or, I mean, any number of different things.
Okay, that part about she's scared of George, and the other part where he said she can't get Lucas because George is in a bad mood. I think it's quite the opposite. I think that's just more of Sarah's habitual lies. I believe that George was the one scared of Sarah, and that Sarah was the one that was pretty much in a bad mood. I mean, we've seen her for 4 years now. She's very rarely in a good mood. I don't know that I've ever... Oh, the one time I saw her in a good mood, when it's the same guys. The police showed up after she called them to report that George violated his no contact order. That was the only time I've seen her in a good mood. And she was drunk that time too.
Okay, you're kind of like her call person, like she...
Yeah, it's gotten very old over the last couple of years, so I've started to just kind of ignore what she's saying and just try to get her gone as soon as possible.
Right.
Because, I mean, honestly, for a long time, I tried to help her out, give her refuge, get away from him, and she just kept bringing him back, and I eventually just gave up on the situation, so...
Right. Okay. All right, do you promise and swear everything that we have talked about has been true and accurate to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Okay, this ends the recording.
Okay, so that interview of Brian Boone was quite informative. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Informative. He did give quite a bit of information that I think really tells the story about George and Sarah and him. you know, not just George and Sarah, but I really think this is like a three-way relationship going on. And it has been like pretty much the whole time. I don't believe that Sarah wanted to divorce Brian, but she also wanted to have George as a lover, and Brian wasn't going for that. So I really think that they've been having this three-way relationship, you know, pretty much the whole time that George has been in the picture. But yeah, I will put the link to this lady's original video. I'll put that in the comments because I'm not able to paste into the description box. YouTube won't let me. And everyone keeps complaining about that. I can't help it. I mean, that's just the way it is. But I'll put it in the comments and then I'll pin it so it'll be at the top. But I'm definitely trying to give credit to the original creator here. All right, well, okay, about the prediction. I'm still predicting that Sarah will be found guilty of second-degree murder. But, you know, as far as her sentencing, I'm not sure. You know, it just depends on her behavior, I think. You know, if she goes into court and she shows some remorse, I don't know if it would be real or not. It'd be nice if it were real. You know, I think the jury could have some mercy on her. And if she acts decent in court, they could have mercy on her and not give her life in prison. But I'm not anticipating that. I'm expecting her to act like a total idiot in court. And I'm expecting all the evidence and the witnesses to come out and testify to, you know, she's not a very good person. And I think she's really going to turn the jury off, especially with her lack of remorse. So I'm still going to go with, that's my prediction, life in prison for Sarah. All right, that's the end of the video.